Welcome back, students. As you can see, we are in section 4, listening. So the listening strategy is to predict while listening. This is pretty much the same strategy in every unit. So when you're listening, you should try to predict what you think they're going to say. So when listening, use what you know about the topic to predict and understand what you hear. Follow these steps. Think about what you know about the topic and or the situation. Identify keywords and focus on stressed words that carry information. So if someone puts emphasis on something, that means it's probably important. So pay attention. If something is repeated, that usually is an indicator that it is important as well. All right, Google Classroom says listening, we need to do B and C. All right. So B, listen and try to predict what follows each pause, then listen and compare your predictions.
Listening. Activity B. Listen and try to predict what follows each pause. Then, listen and compare your predictions. What helped you make your predictions? The Little Prince. The author has crashed his plane in the desert. He is desperate to repair it so he can get away. When the Little Prince from asteroid B612 appears, the Little Prince does not share the pilot's worries. Instead, he asks for a sheep and chatters on about the volcanoes and a special rose that he left behind. The pilot could only see the endless sand and fear for his life. What makes the desert beautiful, said the Little Prince, is that somewhere it hides a well. A wise fox had told him that what is essential is invisible to the eye. On his way to Earth, the Little Prince visits planets where he meets some very strange adults. They are busy counting imaginary possessions, exercising imaginary power, or doing other meaningless activities that take over their lives. The Little Prince is disappointed with adults who cannot remember what it was like to be a child and see what is really important. Finally, the Little Prince lets a poisonous snake bite him so he can get rid of his shell and get back to his rose on his distant planet. As the fox taught him, in order to know someone or something, you need to adopt them, love them, and look after them. This is how something becomes precious and unique, even if it is just a rose.
All right, so that was the audio. If that's difficult to predict and think, it's all right. And in a story, you never know what's going to be said if you don't know the story. So, and your imagination is very powerful. So I had a few different things than the story as well. So don't worry, it's just a practice thinking about what you heard, what you know, and what you can think about will happen. So let's go to C. And exercise C says to read the sentences and circle T for true or F for false. Correct the false statements. So the pilot had crashed into volcanoes. In the audio, it said deserts. So this is false. Change that into a desert. The Little Prince was the author of the story. Do you think that was true or false? I think it was true. It was about him visiting different people. So true. The Little Prince thought that the desert was beautiful. That is also true. He thought it was beautiful. True. And number 4, the pilot knew that there was a well somewhere in the desert. Did the pilot know? No, the pilot did not know. This is false. The little prince knew. So you can change this 2 different ways. You can change the pilot to the little prince knew that there was a well. Or you can change it to say the pilot did not know that there was a well. Either way you change it is okay. So that's it for the listening section. Thank you for following along.